quorum being present, call this meeting to order. We have kind of a light house tonight. All right, let's see. Agenda, we have approval of minutes. We have meeting minutes from January 11th, 2023, and meeting minutes from August 17th, 2022. Any comments about either of those?
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the Conservation Commission meeting minutes from January 11th, 2023 and August 17th, 2022.
Sorry, I just wanted to interject. I noticed some issues, or when I was reviewing some of the minutes, I noticed some issues, and I think these issues go into January 11th, 2023, but the August 17th, 2022 is what's presented tonight is already corrected, so that would be, the August one would be corrected, but the January 2023 one, I'm going to take another look at and make the appropriate corrections.
All right, I'll revise my motion to just be approval of minutes for August 17th, 2022.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. And before we get too far, which one? I just want to make sure we don't get too far because I think somebody's here for a,
So,
which one is that? All right, so H. Are you here for Sabine Way? No, you're not? All right. Never mind then.
give Serena away.
So, Serena Way?
Yes. Is that going to be discussed today?
It's on the agenda, but it's being continued, so it will not be discussed.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Hey, Joe. Just worried, I'm not on the picture, no TV. Voice to the picture. I'll go tell him.
Okay.
Give this a few seconds.
All set?
No Comcast. So she's got voice, but no picture.
All right.
I think just continue
Yeah, I
with
think-
just the voice. I'm
yeah.
not sure what other choice we have.
Yeah. All right, so unfortunately, we don't have any image for TV and streaming, but we apparently do have voice up here.
They're trying to fix it right now, see if they can do stuff to try to get it back on Comcast.
Can we continue with the meeting, or?
Yes, it's still on
Oh.
YouTube and Verizon, it's just for some reason Comcast.
Oh, all right,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying, so.
All right, so we will continue. First item on the agenda, agenda item A, request for extension of an order of conditions for Civil Design Consultants, Inc., 2512 Main Street, Assessors Map 94, Lot 65, DEP file number 305-1111. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, Tom Schomburg of Civil Design Consultants.
And could you walk us through what you're asking?
Yeah, so we're representing our client for their project located at 2512 Main Street for this request for an extension to an order of conditions. The remaining work on the property consists of the finishing of the newly constructed building and the demolition of the previous store. We'd like to request a one-year extension for this work to be performed and then an as-built plan to be prepared. At this time, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Will the work be finished within the 1 year? Do you anticipate? Do you have a schedule?
Schedule, and we do anticipate work finishing within the year, or within a year, rather.
Do we know why it was delayed so long? Why it's taking so long?
I don't know. I believe it was originally permitted, would have been 3 years ago, so still during COVID. I imagine that could have had some impacts.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
The order expires in October 8th, 2023, so they file at least 30 days prior to the expiration. They did provide some pictures to address special condition number 3 of the order, which was to kind of restore the no disturb zone. So that is in the meeting materials, so other than that, I don't have any other comments.
All right. If nobody else on the commission has any,
I'm good.
all right. Could I have a motion to approve this extension of an order of conditions?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item B, request for a certificate of compliance for Wamsit Lanes LLC, 434 Main Street, Assessors Map 22, Lot 69, DEP file number 305-1165. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, Tom Scheinberg of Civil Design Consultants.
And walk us through what you want to do.
So again, representing Wamsit Lands for this request for a certificate of compliance for the project located at 434 Main Street. This project involved the construction of a paved parking lot, accessory storage building, drainage improvements, and associated grading. However, work within the 100-foot wetland buffer consisted only of paving, grading, and the construction of a drainage outfall. An as-built plan was provided for your review, and a site inspection with the agent was performed last Friday. At this time, if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I'm good.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
So my comments are, during the site visit, there was a small area of sediment accumulation next to the perimeter sediment controls. I mean, the sediment controls did their job, it's just that the sediment is just right next to the wetland, so I would just probably recommend removing that sediment prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance. Another comment that I have that the commission should be aware of is that an as-built was also submitted to our engineering division for review, and I think they had a comment on, they didn't confirm that the installation of a plastic barrier, to my understanding, or could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, so the infiltration that we proposed along the northern edge proposed a poly barrier, and that's just to prevent infiltration of water into the sewer main running approximately 10 feet from the bed. That confirmation is what we're going to be providing over the next week, hopefully.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, Joe, are you recommending that we hold off on this one until the sediment is under control, or?
I think we've had a similar case before where I think it's a small lift just to clean out the, whatever sediment has accumulated along the perimeter, and then just come back probably next meeting if possible to close it out. I guess while we're here discussing this project, I would recommend just as an ongoing condition for when it's appropriate for the commission to issue certificate of compliance, to just have an ongoing condition of abiding by the long-term operation maintenance program associated with the stormwater system for the site. And that's it. So that is a document that was originally submitted with the project.
Wouldn't that be covered under the stormwater standards and not necessarily Concom?
It is, it's just another vehicle of tying it to the property, I guess. But it's just a recommendation.
You comfortable with all that?
Yeah, we can do that.
So could I have a motion to continue this request for certificate of compliance to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right.
Thank you.
Agenda item C, public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of Ginsberg Realty Group LLC, 162, 166, and 170 Pine Street, Assessors Map 30, lots 79, 80, and 81 respectively, and 305 and 309 Pine Street, Assessors Map 30, lots 83 and 82 respectively. It's been requested that we continue this to the next meeting. Could I have a motion to that effect?
You have to open the public hearing.
I mean, I would consider it open. If anybody wants to stand up and make a comment, now is the time to do so. I'm not going to close the public hearing until we actually hear this, so you will have a chance to speak on it. But until then, could I have a motion to continue this determination of applicability?
No one's here to speak on this? All right, I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Same thing for agenda item D. This is a public hearing. You're welcome to speak on it, but it's being continued to the next meeting. So could I have a motion to continue public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., Andover, Massachusetts, on behalf of Treehouse Brewing Company, Charlton, Massachusetts, 1879 Main Street, Assessors Map 84, Lot 18, DEP file number 305-1185, to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Also, these next two are going to be continued. Again, public hearing, you'll have time to speak on it, but we are going to continue them today. So could I have a motion to continue public hearing, notice of intent, Bales Associates, Inc., Boston, Massachusetts, on behalf of Holton Bugby Company, Tewksbury, Massachusetts, 1600 Shawshing Street, Assessors Map 112, Lot 4, DEP file number 305-1181, to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Could I have a motion to continue public hearing, notice of intent, Bales Associates, Inc., Boston, Mass., on behalf of National Development, Newton, Massachusetts, 1600 Shawshing Street, Assessors Map 112, Lot 4, DEP file number 305-1182, to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I hear an aye from?
I'm sorry, aye. Aye, aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. Where are we? We are at G, public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., of Andover, Massachusetts, on behalf of Yvonne Cormier, Vale Street, Assessors Map 112, lots 23, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, DEP file number 305-1154. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
You bet. Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants.
And what would you like to present today?
So we have essentially the second part two of a hearing that was originally conducted on March 23rd, 2002. So I'll kind of give you a general overview of the project, and then if you want additional detail, I'll try to provide you with that. But the basic idea, I think most of you were here at that time, is that we came to the commission, we had an ANRAD done, we came to you with a notice of intent application that showed a 4-lot subdivision, of which we were proposing 3 single-family homes off of Vale Street. At the time, we could not request your approval because we had yet to go through the formal subdivision process. And this one was a little tricky because it goes through land court, which is a little different than what we normally do through the A&R process. So after our meeting in March of 2022, we submitted to land court. 18 months later, we're back. So Joe and I had been kind of communicating every 2 or 3 months to try to kick this out a little bit. So I'll kind of give you a once-over on everything, and then if you have specific questions, I can try to address those. So this is a notice of intent application, DEP file number 3051141. We're here on behalf of CA Investment Trust, who is Ivan Cormier. The property is located off of Vale Street. It's actually Tadmuck Circle, which was an approved subdivision from, I believe it was the 1960s, for 7 single-family residential lots. At the time, it predated the Wetlands Protection Act, and the actual configuration of the subdivision really couldn't be built with today's environmental regulations. We are zoned R40. The lot is a total area of approximately 18 acres. We have wetlands, which comprise about 11 of the 18, so we have about 7 acres, give or take, of upland. We also went through the ANRAD process. We have a bunch of resource areas out there. So we have bordering vegetated wetland. We have riverfront area, a portion of which is perennial, a portion of which is intermittent. We have, therefore, we have the 200-foot riverfront area, as well as the 100, and then the 50 and the 25-foot local resource areas. So I'm just gonna, I don't know if we have. So I'll kind of just give you high-level stuff here, but essentially, this was the plan that was approved through the ANRAD process. You can see the dashed lines is what the old 1960s land court subdivision plan was, and you can see the impact that it would have here on the wetland. We went through a number of iterations to try to figure out what the best use of the land and the best way to approach developing the 7 acres of upland that we had. This was one scenario that we developed, and we used this in our alternatives analysis, which essentially showed 2 Form A lots off of Vale Street, 600 feet plus or minus of proposed roadway, reaching 4 lots out here in the back. And we had about a 2,200 square foot of direct wetland impacts. That was also adjacent to what we believe is a vernal pool, but it was never actually certified because of the time of year that the ANRAD was done. So we had a handful of challenges associated with this. So we kind of scaled this down quite a bit. And we developed this plan here. So this is the plan here that's in front of you. It's 4 lots in total, but we're proposing to develop just 3 of these lots. All frontage along Vale Street, no direct wetland impacts. We do have limited impacts within the outer riparian zone associated with Lot 3. So just kind of walking through these here, we have about a 1 acre lot for single-family residential. Essentially, all of the development is located outside of your 50-foot buffer. We have some impacts inside the 100-foot buffer, which would be limited to the construction of the single-family residence, lot prep, grading, tree clearing. Lot 2 is about 50,000 square feet. We've only got about 386 square feet of impacts within the riverfront area. And that's literally just the corner of this driveway. And then we have a small infiltration trench that runs parallel with the driveway just to capture anything before it sheets off onto lot 3 here. So inside the 100-foot, again, we have really just limited to lot clearing, some grading. Lot 3 is about 80,000 square feet. We have about 7,000 square feet of impacts within the riverfront. Most of the impacts, with a small exception to this area here, are located outside of the 100-foot inner riparian zone associated with the resource area. And then we have a 4th lot back here, which we have no intention on building anything. I don't think we could get back there due to the presence of the wetland. And if you kind of look through here, we would have a direct wetland crossing, then another crossing if we had to get further back there. There's no intention on further subdividing that lot or even building on that lot. So I'll just show you this here, but this is the result of 18 months of work with the state, with Land Court. They have generally a higher expectation for the accuracy of the property lines. We have to go through that whole process with them. It took us, again, about 18 months, give or take, but we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 additional lots proposed now at this point. I believe where this stands now is that we're still waiting for a planning board approval. We intend on being there Monday night. At this point, it's a very straightforward A&R plan, so it's approval not required because they're just frontage lots and they all meet the frontage, lot area, dimensional requirements are all met by the 4 lots. So with that being said, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer those for you.
All right. Any questions or comments from the commission?
So I just have a question. So exactly how many houses are you building here?
3.
3?
3, yep.
Okay. So what were the, I'm sorry, I didn't follow the end there. What were the 4 additional?
So we have 4 lots altogether.
Yeah.
What we're proposing is 3 houses at this point.
Because the 4th one is unbuildable. Is the key
I don't want to
feature.
say that it's unbuildable, right? Because based on where we are today, it's probably unbuildable, and it's not worth the effort to try to get the lot, because we would have direct wetland impacts that we'd have to contend with coming off of Vale Street.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Are the storm tech systems going to be deeded to the houses, and how is that going to be maintained by the homeowners? Because I mean, for a commercial property, that's hard enough as it is.
Yeah. What we could do, so we're not proposing that, but if that's a concern for you, what we could do is have a maintenance, an operations and maintenance plan put together. They would be part of the order if it were to be issued. We're really limited with how we can address stormwater. As you know, right, I think anything under, is it 3 lots, the stormwater management standards don't apply to, but in an attempt to address everything, because that's typically what we do, we've provided that, and they have been sized to offset any impacts or increases in.
Yeah, I felt that was the case, but I just think
Yeah.
kind of once there needs to
Yeah,
be maintenance, it'll never be done, and any of that benefit just goes away instantly. Or
Well,
not instantly, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
deteriorating over
I hear what you're saying, and so you're totally right. Even the commercial ones, they really don't get maintained until there's a problem, right? With these, however, they would be collecting roof water, which is generally clean, right? So you're going to get some leaves and this and that in there, but for the most part, you got pretty big volume.
Yeah, it'll eventually plug up and deteriorate over time, but yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
And then, I'm not familiar with this area particularly, but the sewer, is there a pump station right there? Is that
Yes,
why the sewer
yes.
is drawn the way it is?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah. So from a compliance perspective, so I guess just backing up, yes, the last time the commission discussed this was in March 23rd of 2022. The resource areas were confirmed by the commission in an ORAD issued in 2021, which is good for 3 years, and which is being cited in this notice of intent. The project has shown alternatives analysis, so as a requirement for working in unaltered riverfront area, there's a requirement to show, an alternatives analysis as far as, why the project is kind of minimizing, mitigating, and avoiding any impacts, but also taking into account, feasible alternatives for the project. So how the regulations are written and why there was a delay in this permitting process is that you can alter up to 5,000 square feet or 10% of the riverfront area on the lot, but the lot needs to be recorded. So that's why there was a reconfiguration of the lot lines, and so the lots weren't recorded, so that's why there's a wait to get it recorded, and then they would be within that 10% of riverfront area alteration for lot 3, I think. Yeah, so that's how they would comply with that section of the Wetland Protection Act regulations. And that's really where the meat of the compliance is with the riverfront area performance standards. So they are greater than 100 feet away from where the riverfront area begins, and they can alter up to 10% within a riverfront area within a lot. I believe what was previously brought up is that once you alter 5,000 square feet of riverfront area, the regs say that the commission may require a wildlife habitat evaluation. I believe that was mentioned in previous hearings, and I don't think the commission commented on that.
I have one more question while Joe's going through his notes. On lot 2, it looks like there's a culvert. Is that going to be owned by the town or lot 2? And is there an easement on the property otherwise?
Just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the culvert presumably was put here way back when by whomever, right? Not going to be owned by the town. It's on Lot 2 completely, and it would be their responsibility to maintain.
So that's going to be deeded that they have to maintain that essentially on lot 2?
Yeah, if that's a concern and that's something you'd like, would be.
I mean, there's obviously a flow path for that water, so if that
Yeah.
gets plugged up over time or not maintained or something happens, then it could cause pooling on either
Sure.
side of that
Yeah,
culvert,
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that should be maintained by the homeowner, I guess, at that point in time.
Okay, so I think that was, what I had previously said is basically sums up the compliance perspective from all the previous hearings that we've had. I think one other comment that I had was, I think, based off my recollection of our previous discussions, the lot lines or the proposed areas of alterations around the dwellings are pretty tight, particularly for lot 3, like the closest, the one within the riverfront area primarily. So I think within the previous hearings, I had mentioned that it would be really important to kind of survey out those, like limit of work. Because, I mean, that one in particular is very tight. So
Yeah.
I would just include that as a condition, is just surveying the limit of work prior to construction, just so when it comes time for construction, people know where and where not to go.
You know, it's critical, right? So like, that's a good condition, so that it's, whoever ends up building it, right, it's on paper and they know it. So we should lay out these lines like exactly.
Yep.
So Lot 4 is everything that's not in Lot 1, 2, and 3? You have no plans on developing that?
No.
Would you consider donating it to open space?
I could bring it to the attention of the current owner or whomever's going to buy it. Yeah, I'd bring it to their attention, see what they say. We got to come back 2 weeks from tonight anyhow, so, yeah.
All right, if there's no more questions or comments from the commission, this is a public hearing, so I will open it up to the public. If we could move the easel and stand a little bit. If anybody would like to make a comment, now's the time to do so. Just ask that you introduce yourself, name and address for the record.
Can we just take a minute to take a look at these maps?
Yep.
Reach the river. So we basically all Vale Street.
Just, if you can look at it right now, but if you want to ask a question, you have to introduce yourself for the record.
Stream characters. That's on the Vale Street. It's colored. Join the stream. Slow. Wraps around the whole remainder piece. So that's the pond there. And that's the road here. Yeah, because they're gonna own that. Yeah.
Can't check, but these are all available online.
No, it's available if you contact me though.
Can I take a picture of this?
Yes, you can. They are not available online, but you can contact Joe and he can send you the documents.
Thank you.
All right, just,
So, hi. My name's Mark Pileski. I'm at 136 Vale Street. Coming up on 40 years there. This has been an ongoing 40-year trek to develop this property. I'm very concerned about that fourth lot like you brought up. Would really like to see all of the other acreage that's left after those 3 lots or homes are built to be never touched. I think the last 2 to 4 weeks really kind of gives us a really good indication of what Mother Nature can do. That whole area back there, when we had that 6 inches of rain, it was pretty nasty back there. So I'm also concerned about, once we start digging, that if there's something underneath that gets altered and that water has no place to go, like it's been going for centuries or whatever, I'm concerned about any impact to any of our properties along that street. And what kind of plan would be put in place to protect us if something like that should happen. So that's pretty much what I have to offer. And it sounds to me like this is going to be continued for the 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
If you would like to respond?
Yeah, so you requested some consideration for Lot 4, so I'll go back to my client on that. I can tell you that this is a challenging site because of the number of resource areas that we have on the site, but there's an abundance of regulations due to those resource areas that we have, and we're trying to develop this in the most sensitive way that we can. We did show you that we had other alternatives where we could get as many as 6 lots with direct wetland impacts. We feel like we could go that route. Once this is approved and these lots are recorded and one of those lots is sold, that's like done forever, right? So I totally understand the concern. We've gotten so much rain, really not even over the last 45 days. It's really been over the last 3 years, give or take, that things are just kind of out of whack here a little bit. But we've done what we can to offset that and comply with all the regulations.
All right,
All right, thanks.
thank you.
So I'm Michael Taylor at 118 Vale Street, also been living there through all of this redevelopment in our, at least every 5 year coming to visit you guys to see what the latest thing is and listen to, oh, we'll never do that. Oops. Well, now we found a way to make more money and it happens anyways. So I'd like to see this land protected, not only for this little development, but as you were continued, you had a lot of other developments hitting this watershed off of Shawsheen Street. There's the one right up at the end of Shawsheen Street that's extending into there, and that water's got to go somewhere, and it comes through here to get to the river. You've seen the one at Bugby, where they're going to put in a massive warehouse, I think is the plan, right next to things. That water's got to go somewhere. So this watershed is more than a little 3 or 4 house development. This is a major piece of the water infrastructure of that whole end of it. And we've seen, if you depend on a culvert to get to a house, you've heard them, it's $1 million expense to, oh, it's too small, we got to dig up the road and put in a much larger culvert. And we don't want to be seeing that. We already know the culvert under Vale Street will need to be replaced in the next 15 years. Hopefully it's that long. But all this is flowing through that, and we're worried about the little pipe under someone's backyard. This area needs to be protected. One way is to extend the property lines of these lots to the railroad tracks so that they own the land right out there. And the other way is to just donate the entire thing to the open space and protect this, because we don't want this little piecemeal thing where we're putting in culverts that never get maintained to get to the house, and we end up with water mains under the culverts. And what's that going to cost us? So, I mean, this is a critical piece of the overall system that concerns me, you know, and I don't want my backyard flooded anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public?
Mike Rizzo at 152 Vale Street. I'm right next door to one of the houses they're proposing. Just curious how close to the boundary line that is. And my concern also was with water, because I know that I get a lot of water in coming down the road. There's no storm drains on the street, so all the water just runs downhill and it collects there. So I was just curious how close that building is to my lot line. That's the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's a 50-foot side yard setback, and the width of the lot there would allow us to be beyond that. So I think that house box right there shows 20 feet. Now, those house boxes could change, right? But like, we try to put a bigger house box on there than what they would build. So at a minimum, we'd provide what's required, which is 15 feet.
I'm sorry, are you saying 50 or 50?
1.5.
1.5, all right.
Yep.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, any other questions or comments from the commission?
Yeah, I just have one more looking at the plan set. There's a swale drawn, and it kind of looks like it's on the town property. Is that an existing swale, or is that a new swale that's being developed?
You point me in the right direction?
Right by the street, between where, at the end of the road where the driveways are kind of tapering. It says swale. There's two little sections that say swale. Is that going to be maintained by the town at this point in time? It looks like it's on town land.
Yeah, it is, but all we're doing is trying to maintain that existing flow path, right? So what we're trying to do is tie the grade back in before it hits the actual pavement.
So is there a culvert under each driveway then to keep the flow going? Or no?
It's just going to go overland.
So it's
over
almost
the
like a
driveway.
detention basin versus a
No,
swale-ish? or-
there's no detention, it's just maintaining the direction, so essentially Vale Street comes down and goes to the low
Yeah.
point, which is the culvert. So all we're trying to do is continue that through.
So the driveways aren't going to impact the flow of the water
No, the water will over the driveways, that's the idea.
and not into the street?
And not
And
into,
not into the street?
correct, yeah, yep. So the driveways are actually lower than the street itself,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Wouldn't that cause basement flooding?
You can see that the edge of pavement, for example, on Lot 1 is 9141 is the elevation, and we're about 4 inches lower at halfway between the edge of pavement and the property line at 9115.
I have a question.
Sure.
This just came to me. Was there I guess, why are the lots configured as they are? Like, was there a general, strategy to make them that
Yeah.
way?
Keep them as far away from the portion of the stream that is perennial, which is about here. So we tried to push everything over this way, still get the frontage that we need, and you can see we actually choked it down to further get as far away as we can from that.
But in
Minimize
the other
distance.
direction,
This-
in the vertical direct, north-south direction,
Yeah.
was there a strategy to having it go that far back? Like, for example, for Lot 2, was there a reason why it got pushed beyond that culvert? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because we're required to have 1 acre of
Okay.
lot area, right? So, we, yeah.
All right.
All right. So if there are no other questions or comments from the commission and no further discussion,
Mike Taylor again, Vale Street. Did I hear you say the driveways were going to be less than the street? So all the water, as the gentleman before me just said, that's running down the street, down sloped, runs into their driveways, which means their basements? Is that what the design is?
No.
Where is the level of the driveway when it meets the street?
right where the street is right now.
So there's a positive slope from the street to the house in the driveway, correct?
No, that's why we have the swale that's offset the edge of pavement about 5 feet, is to just maintain that existing gutter line. So right now, Vale Street sheets off into the sides. We just want to have it maintain its direction parallel with Vale Street to get to the culvert.
And you're not allowed to push water from your property out into the street anyways, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
that's-
definitely not allowed to
Yeah,
do that. Right.
that's, the town takes care of the town's water.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But this is, the shape of the driveway is how do I phrase this? It's the typical standards you would do, so it's not focused directly into anybody's property. Water flow wouldn't go directly into somebody's basement.
Absolutely correct. Right.
Disperses elsewhere,
right.
not into the street and not into basements.
Right.
All right, if there's no further questions from the commission or from the public, could I have a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Agenda item H, public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of Dr. Nitesh Nahata, 1438 Main Street, Assessors Map 59, Lot 58, DEP file number 305-1187. That's being requested to be continued. If the public hearing is open, but we're going to continue it to the next meeting. Could I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Just give them a second. All right. And same thing with agenda item I, public hearing, notice of intent, Norse Environmental Services, Inc., on behalf of Robert Stevens, 44 California Road, Assessors Map 82, Lot 19, DEP file number not yet assigned. Could I have a motion to continue that to the next hearing?
That would be the public hearing for that as well. It's a new project, I think.
Yeah, so the public hearing is open, but you'll have time to make comments at the next public meeting, or, the next meeting. All right, so could I have a motion to continue that to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. Agenda item J, minor modification, Mark Bradley, 319 and 321 Marston Street, Assessors Map 20, lots 28 and 87, DEP file number 305-1135. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
How you doing? Mark Bradley, M.A. Bradley Development, 1455 Main Street, Unit 2, Tewksbury, Mass.
And what would you like to be doing today?
So basically in the rear of Lot D and Lot A, which I do not own, I own Lot D, in an adjacent property, I believe it's 315 Marston Street. It was once an old piggery. They got some huts back there. There's some old trucks, stuff like that. It is in the upland area. Me and Joe did walk it. We walked it earlier in the spring, and we walked it the other day. And I'm just looking to clean up the site. I'm willing to do it. It's upon, 3 different parcels, one being mine. I have a buyer that would like to see it cleaned up, so I'm willing to clean it up. I've talked to the neighbors next door. They've given me access through their property. So it's on 3 different parcels. I believe Lot A, The trust that I bought this property from is going to be looking to donate the land back to the town. I believe that's originally what I thought. So I just think it's a pretty good thing just to clean up. It is on the upland area. I do already have erosion control already in place. I'm just looking to go out there with a mini excavator, some laborers, get some dumpsters back there, which I'm going to get access from the neighbors. I've spoke to them numerous times about it. They're excited for it. They want it cleaned up. Just looking to get it done as soon as possible.
And so I think you may have already answered the question, but you mentioned you have, how are the lot lines? You own these or, and you don't have access? You do have
So right now, I own, it's Lot B, C, and D, so 323 Marston, 321 Marston, and 319 Marston. Lot A was part of that original parcel, but it's all wetlands. And 319's access would be limited because it would be going through the wetlands. So I could have access through, I believe it's 315 Marston Street. So everything would be on the upland. Yep.
All right, any other questions from the commission? Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
My comments are that, the photos that we took recently in August are provided to the commission. There are sediment controls established around where the work would be, which is like a straw wattle. I guess my only recommendation would be, once all the stuff is pulled out and once the land is kind of smoothened out, just laying some conservation wildlife seed mix down.
I already have it,
Yeah.
because I had to do it for the wetland replication area, so I already have that seed.
All right, sounds good. If there's no other questions or comments, could I have a motion to approve the minor modification?
I'll make that motion as discussed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Agenda item K, minor modification, Mariella Oliveira, 765 Whipple Road, Assessors Map 31, Lot 57, DP file number 305-1161. There's nobody here for that. Joe, could you fill us in on the details?
Yeah, this is something that I kind of just wanted to bring to the commission's attention. It's not, it's pretty minor, I think, but basically, you can, where the retaining wall is proposed in this, it's within the 25-foot no disturb zone, but how it was built during a recent site visit is a little encroached into the 25-foot no disturb zone, a little bit more. It's not crazy, but I just thought I'd bring it to the attention to the commission before it would potentially become an issue, during the certificate of compliance phase.
The encroachment is into land that is already, it's not like perfect wetlands, it's right next to.
Yeah, it's already part of their yard is where it was built, but let's see. Let me pull up the photo. I think the most recently updated site plan is in the SharePoint site and not on the thing, but.
Is it?
Well, basically, yeah, they mistook the silt fence, it looks like, to be the location of the retaining wall. And on the original site plan, the retaining wall, I think, is maybe proposed like kind of flush with the above ground pool.
All right.
That's it.
I have no issues with this. If anybody else on the commission has any comments. Not hearing any. Could I have a motion to approve the minor modification?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, agenda item L, violation notice, Gino and Pemba, 10 Star Avenue, Assessors Map 88, Lot 3. Hello, could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Gino Wimpemba, 10 Star Avenue.
And where did we leave off the last time?
I was to repair a lot that I had put some fill into, and so I did that.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I'm good.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
Yep, so this was kind of just to, as a follow-up from the last time we've discussed this project, there was some soil placed near the wetland. The soil, based off a recent site visit, was raked back from the wetland, and the sediment controls were bolstered, so it looks good. The grass had received the soil seemed to be on its way to being stabilized through, vegetation of grass. The only thing I noticed from the last time when I did my site visit was a new patio, which is about 17 feet away from the wetlands. But it seems like that was built in the existing, or the previous location of the above-ground pool.
That's what I did, yeah. I took that area and cleaned it up, put down pavers so they could still leach through. I didn't do concrete or any of that.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it better. It cost enough.
I don't
3 days after I laid down all the seed, we got hit with the 7 inches of rain.
Yeah.
I think most of it might be in the wetland. That's not even funny, but honest to God.
All right, I don't have any issues. I think it looks good. If nobody else has any questions or comments, I think we can put this to rest.
Agreed.
All right, thank you for your cooperation.
Well, hey,
We
that was always
appreciate
my intent from the beginning. Thank you.
it. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Agenda item M, emergency certification, Mariella Oliveira, 765 Whipple Road, Assessors Map 31, Lot 57. Joe, could you fill us in on the details?
Yep, so this is the same lot from the retaining wall issue that we just discussed recently. So removal of up to 3 trees. All 3 trees were either dead, dying, or decaying, or leaning in the direction of their home. It was near wetlands, so I had done a site visit, looked at the trees myself, and I had issued this emergency certification with the conditions referenced in the document, which are, as a brief summary, just to, cut the tree at the stump, not leaving any tree debris on site, stuff of that nature.
I see the circle where there's 2 to 3 trees. I see photo 2 that has pretty rough-looking tree there. Just a clarification, have they already performed the work, or are they waiting on?
They drove by today, and it's been done.
All right. Do you know if they removed more than just the tree in photo 2, or?
It looks like they removed all 3 of the trees, yeah.
All right. I have no further questions. If anybody else has any questions or comments? Could I have a motion to ratify the emergency certification?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Agenda item N, emergency certification, Kenneth Matucci, 34 Henry J. Drive, Assessors Map 45, Lot 46. Joe, could you fill us in on the details?
Yep, so this is a similar situation, except it applies to a single pine tree, which I was called out to do an inspection of that tree. The tree, even from a layman's perspective, seemed pretty met the qualifications of dead, dying, or decaying, as you can see in the photos provided, and it's covered with invasive vine, so it was also close to a dwelling, certainly within the fall radius, so I had issued the emergency certification with the conditions provided in the document.
Joe, quick question. Does the town have a tree warden? Yeah, no. Does the tree warden come and kind of make that evaluation, or are you making that evaluation?
So I make an evaluation, but my evaluation is very base level, so if it's obvious to me, then I don't hesitate on issuing the emergency certification, only because I don't want to have potential responsibility in holding up a tree removal if it is like obvious. However, if a tree looks otherwise healthy to a layman's perspective, which is me, then I'll either say you need to go through a formal permitting process, or you need to get a certified arborist to provide his own opinion, his or her opinion, to say otherwise. You like that approach?
Sure. Just curious.
You know, the funny thing about trees, though, geez, they can be rotted inside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like arborists might.
That's why I wasn't sure if the tree warden ever gets involved now that they're, no. I mean, if you never really, or it's kind of just you fill out an RDA or you don't, and either I think it's dead or you fill out an RDA. It's essentially how you're doing it now, right?
Exactly. I mean, our tree warden is our DPW director, I believe, so.
No, so not really a tree warden.
Yeah.
I'm not going on record to say that.
Well, I mean, like, other towns have a tree warden, that's their sole job, like, doing a lot more.
I was just getting at, he's probably way.
That's what I was kind of getting at, the same thing.
Other thing, so are there any classes through MAC or anything else for trees? Not, I mean, it might be a little bit much for you to become a certified arborist, but do you know of any classes like that? Or do you plan on taking any, I guess?
I can look into it. I think that's something that would interest me.
All right.
Just have like a better perspective, just like you were saying, like it could, like the roots of the trees could be what's the issue, and just being able to have the knowledge of like certain species of trees are more susceptible to certain types of problems, then that'd be good. So sure, I'll be in training.
If they're available, I think it would be a good idea. All right, could I have a motion to, unless there's any other discussion, could I have a motion to ratify emergency certification, Kenneth Matucci, 34 Henry J. Drive, Assessors Map 45 and Lot 46?
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Agenda item O, tree cutting discussion, 740 North Street, Assessors Map 51, Lot 3. Do you have any updates for us?
I don't have any updates. I believe I'll be talking with town council regarding this issue on Friday potentially, but he's kind of in and out, and I've been trying to lock down the time to discuss this issue.
I've also heard that some people are pretty busy with the water issue going on, so that might be taking up some of his time. All right, so we can discuss this further at the next meeting. Could I have a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Agenda item P, discuss changes to wetland protection bylaw and regulations.
Yeah, so we have had this on our agenda for months, and it's pretty much a placeholder for anyone who wants to come and discuss the proposed changes to the bylaw and the regulations. The bylaw will be anticipated to be on the town article for the next town meeting. One change I wanted to mention, just as I was preparing the document for the article submission, was just a slight change in the definition of resource areas, which makes reference to the bylaw instead of the Wetland Protection Act regulations. They basically both say the same thing, but I think it's just more consistent to reference the bylaw itself, but just wanted to make the commission aware of that and see if you guys had any objection to that. And then, assuming there's no objection to that, the last thing I wanted to say is that at the next meeting, so technically, if we want to change the regulations, it requires a public hearing. So I'll have to coordinate for a legal ad to go out in a newspaper to propose the changes to the regulations for the next meeting. And then at the next meeting, the commission may want to approve of the regulations contingent on the fact that the bylaw gets passed at the next town meeting. And any potential review from the AG's office, I guess, if that holds up the bylaw approval. So other than that, that's it.
All right, so give a good once over of the regulations and the bylaw, and then hopefully it all goes through. All right, old business, 19 Pond Street.
Yeah, so this is a follow-up from an enforcement order issued by the Conservation Commission. So this is regarding someone placing soil in their backyard, which is previously maintained as lawn. However, part of their previously maintained lawn is a wetland. But I did a site visit out here because the homeowner had said that they should remove some of that soil, but not all of it. And I just wanted to follow up to see if I could gather any evidence to see how much soil was removed. And I guess just sharing these photos of what the conditions currently are. It was so flooded that I wasn't really able to tell anything other than the fact that I did see gravel that's shown in image _4634. There's some gravel, like everywhere I was stepping in the backyard I could feel gravel underneath my feet. But the plan now, I guess, just talking with the homeowners, just wait till the water subsides. And then I can go back out, evaluate it again, but the enforcement order either says to prove that this doesn't cause flooding onto someone else's property or remove the gravel in the soil. But in the meantime, just wanted to share these photos with the commission just as kind of an update on the scenario.
So under these current conditions, if you went to the neighbor, wouldn't he let you know if it was more flooded or less flooded?
Well,
I mean, this looks pretty bad right now, based off the pictures, right?
So sorry, what was your question?
If it was gonna flood the neighbor's house even more, it would have happened now, right? So if you confirm with the homeowner that there's no adverse impacts from the work she did, I think for me, that would suit me.
Because this is,
Okay.
You know, get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, it rained
no,
so
I
much
got
in
you.
July and August that if there was adverse impacts or additional flooding that wasn't
Okay.
experienced, it would have been
yeah, they're
shown in the
they're
past.
right up against
Yeah.
Pond Street. So
Where that pond is high, huh?
yeah, and I'm sure this is not the first time they've seen flooding like this. But if it's gotten, like, I'm pretty sure I've run by there and seen, not going onto property or anything, but seeing, oh yeah, like those houses over there are, have some standing water from recent rains. But I don't know if this is significantly worse than previous years.
So confirm with them is it worse or is it the same?
Yeah, typical or worse.
Okay.
I think that gives you your answer. Because that's how the enforcement order is written.
Okay.
Is that why they did this, to alleviate the flooding in their yard?
I think at the last time this was discussed, I think they were just trying to
Have grass.
revitalize their backyard, and, because it has always been maintained as lawn, as grass. And so I think they were just trying to beef up that backyard. However, left to its own devices, it pretty much is a wetland, as you can tell.
All right, any new business or administrators' reports?
No. But, so sorry, just to wrap this one up. Once I get a response from the homeowner regarding the flooding, I'll put this as an agenda item for whenever I get that response.
Sure.
Discuss that, okay.
All right, and if there's nothing further to discuss, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next meeting is September 20th. All right.